What's up, my friends? It's Pete Thorn. Welcome to the studio. That was a fun one to do. You guys know I like it when a different kind of pedal comes across my desk here, and this one totally qualifies. It's the Lysis from the nice folks at Solid Gold Effects. So this is a polyphonic octave fuzz modulator. So essentially you've got an octave fuzz combined with filters and LFOs in the same box. This allows you to get some crazy kind of synthy, nutty filtered textures that you can also control via an expression pedal for extra kind of wacky effects. That's what you heard me do on the first part on the song at the beginning of the video. And you've also got control via the two switches here. Each one has a secondary function, so you can do things like ramp up or ramp down the speed of the LFO that's controlling the filters. And you can also break the filter using one of the switches and hold it like in an open or closed setting. Completely unique pedal, super duper fun. This video is going to be about me explaining it. I'm going to go through a whole explanation and turn all the knobs and hit all the switches and stuff like that. And then I'm also going to solo some of those parts from the track at the beginning of the video outside of the mix. You can clearly hear those. I played all the parts with the pedal plugged into the front of my PT15 amp, and I'm using the clean channel for almost all of the parts I recorded, except for one part I had a kind of a crunch setting on the channel 2 of my amp. And also for one of the solo parts on that track at the beginning of the video, I used a Rocket Archer to push the Lysis actually in front of it, just to add a little bit of overdrive to the sound. That seemed to work well. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to kind of give you the Coles Notes explanation of the Lysis here, because it is a pretty deep unit. Having said that, it's not hard to get good sounds. It's the kind of pedal you want to plug in and just kind of turn the knobs and flip the switches, not even necessarily knowing what they're doing, and you will find fun, very inspiring tones, I think. That's how I got the first part on that track at the beginning of the video done. It was before I really knew how the unit even worked, and I just plugged it in. I got an expression pedal hooked up to it, which allowed me to manipulate the speed of the LFO, and that was fun right away, and I just found a cool sound and wrote that part. So it really wasn't complicated to figure out. So let's start off with the Fuzz Circuit. The fuzz, if I take this blend control right here and turn it all the way down, all the way counterclockwise, that's going to give me just fuzz and none of the LFO or filter stuff. Okay, and the controls for the fuzz then become this fuzz amount control, this level control over here, and then these two switches. We've basically got a voice switch here that lets you pick sort of the octave settings, because there's always an octave of some sort, maybe more than one, mixed into the fuzz circuit. It's an octave fuzz, really. And then over here we've got this high pass filter and low pass filter switch, and that lets us kind of fine tune the tone of the fuzz. So with the voice switch all the way to the left and the high pass filter, low pass filter set to low pass filter, this is the way the fuzz sound. Huge, right? It's very cool. Now I can take this voice switch and put it in the center position, and it's going to blend in another octave up on top. So now we're going to get a low octave, sort of the note I'm playing, the root note or whatever, and then an upper octave. Right, and tracks really perfectly and stuff. It's really great. If I take the voice switch and I put it all the way over to the right, now we get basically a power chord. It's a fifth. Very cool. So let's take the voice switch, put it all the way left again, so it's just an octave down, and then kind of the root note. And, the high pass filter, low pass filter switch, got to show you that. That basically just either lops off top end or low end and gives you either a brighter sound or a darker sound, fatter sound. So it sounds like this. You can hear one's got a little bit more open top end and clarity and a little less bass, and the other one's just real fat and warms up the top end a little bit. Okay, so now let's bring the blend control up and bring in some of the filter stuff. So as I turn it up, it's going to blend in the filter and sort of blend out fuzz, and you can mix between the fuzz and the filter. Right? Very cool. Now, this is where things get interesting. We've got basically a waveform switch here that lets you pick the wave shape of the filter. That's very square, right? It can be a little bit difficult to hear maybe with slower settings, so I'm going to speed it up. Okay, so one's that ramp up kind of, I think that's called saw wave, where it kind of ramps up, and then the other one's kind of got more of a, I guess, a sine type thing to it, and then the other one's more square wave, where it's just kind of straight up and down, on and off sort of filter. Pretty cool, that's pretty straightforward. Now there's a resonance switch here. Basically, as you turn that up, you get more resonance, or rather when you switch it from the left to the right, more resonance, which makes it sound sort of like more aggressive. So sort of more pronounced filtering as you bring that resonance switch up. Okay, now in conjunction with the wave switch here, what you get is this mode, which is an 11 position stepped switch that changes up the filter. So let's turn up the resonance actually to the middle setting so it's pretty clear. And then I'm going to flip this mode switch and you're going to hear the different kinds of filters that you can get. Now, there's also a couple of secondary functions to the switches here. One of them is a break, and that's really interesting because what it lets you do is actually hold the filter in a position as it's sweeping. So okay, so I can actually hold the filter open or closed. If there's a place in the sweep where the filter opens up and it's really aggressive, you can hold it right there. So that's pretty neat. And then there's this ramp switch in the other one here that lets you, this is a tap tempo, but it also functions when you hold it down as a ramp. If I move it over to the left, see, it actually slows down. Okay, so you could set a fast setting and then you could hit that and slow down the LFO, or if I move the ramp switch over to the right beyond the center detent, now it's going to speed up. Right, or over here, it'll slow. If I get a fast tempo, then it'll slow down. Okay, now I've got this Moog expression pedal hooked up here, and I can vary the speed with this pedal. So, which is how I did that first part, and also the part that closed the song at the beginning of the video, by varying the filter constantly, the speed of the LFO, excuse me, using this expression pedal, and that just plugs into the expression pedal input right there. Thanks for watching my video on the Lysis. Super cool octave fuzz with crazy LFOs and filter kind of modulation stuff going on as well. Totally unique pedal, and I love making music with pedals like this. When I get something like this in, it's just a blast coming up with a track. You know, I just let the sound kind of steer where I go with it, and it just makes it a lot of fun for me. So if you're looking for something different that's not a tube screamer or a clon, check it out. There's obviously a lot of thought and effort put into the design. I bet it was a ton of R&D. And anyway, so kudos to you guys. Hats off to the nice folks at Solid Gold Effects. You can check it out further at the link down there in the video description below. Click there and it'll take you to all the info about this fine pedal. Please hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit the little bell beside the subscribe. You'll get an alert when I put out a new video. I am Pete Thorn. Take care. Over and out.